Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Spoon.
Good morning.
Good morning. What are you blasting right now? What do you got going on?
Spanish.
Just Spanish. So what is up, everyone? Today is a big day. But every day is a big day. So I mentioned it in the last video at the very end. I'm just going to start off by saying this. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I leave for another trip, and this is a trip that I have been trying to make happen for literally the last 6 years. I'm trying so hard not to get too excited about it until I am there on soil.
Exciting stuff.
It is, but I don't know, like when you're too excited about something sometimes you just get nervous that something bad's gonna happen. The Australia trip got messed up and that one broke my heart, and I went in circles trying to make it happen.
I'm still scarred.
I'm still scarred. Tomorrow morning, I finally leave for Japan. It makes me want to barf thinking about how Spoon, I'm gonna cry. I think when I land off the plane, I might actually cry.
The rite of passage.
A rite of passage?
The rite of passage.
I feel like all of us guys here just as GDM car boys, of course, like going to Japan has always been like the epitome of just like, I'm gonna do it one day. The culture looks unreal. I hate to admit how much I am obsessed with anime, like secret pleasure of mine, but it's all kind of unloading to this moment. Obviously, we've had the whole pandemic going on, which hasn't really allowed us to travel to Japan in almost basically 3 years, which is wild. Before that, it just wasn't something I could make happen. Throughout COVID, the channel grew. More opportunities have arose, and now that Japan is open, it's finally something that I could afford to do, make happen, and that is what is happening.
It's not any just Japan trip. What are you doing in Japan?
So here's the thing, right? I guess we'll give them all the details now because whatever. So this Japan trip is going to be mainly Ebisu based, right? So if you guys know, Ebisu is the drifting mecca of, obviously you can argue there's a lot of tracks in Japan, but Ebisu is like, everyone talks about Ebisu. Everyone wants to go to Ebisu, get a car, drift there, ultimate seat time experience, having a blast, and I was very lucky enough to find a car for Ebisu.
Glad they're gonna have to wait for it.
Yeah, we'll wait for that one.
It's a good one.
And as much as I would love to just go explore around because there's so much to do, this trip will actually be more driving based. I'm excited for, 2 reasons, right? One, I haven't got nearly as much seat time as I wanted in the last year. Like I've driven probably more this year than I have, but it's still nothing compared to seat time numbers. And this will be a very dense mecca for getting seat time. Really great way to start the season. And then two, just like getting to experience Ebisu. I would really love to have more exploring around, but guess what, Spoon? I could always go back. So I'm going with Grant. We're going for Spring Matsuri, which is probably going to be the most packed Spring Matsuri of all time. It's like every time I talk to someone else, like they're going to, so it's going to be quite a dramatic, very dense 2 weeks. But
I don't know what Spring Matsuri is.
Spring Matsuri is basically, the broadest terms put it, is basically just a massive drifting event in Ebisu, right? It is springtime, it is cherry blossom time, it is beautiful there, and people from all around the world go and drive. There'll probably be more people from around the world than Japanese people there. A lot of my friends are going that I don't get to see, that I only see around the world, are going in one place in Japan. It's gonna be wild. I could probably ramble onto the camera right now for the next 20 minutes, but I'm gonna leave some of it for a surprise, and we'll leave some of the details up for when I'm actually there, and I just can't even take in that it's actually happening. Until I'm there doing things, it's not real.
Stop.
It's been a long time coming, so I want to get a video out, so we have a video for you guys because traveling is just a pain in the ass, but I'm going to try and document as much of the experience as possible. On top of that, we have a couple things going on. So Austin, our filmer and editor, won't be around for the week. He is actually going to be visiting back home because we actually stole him from Kentucky, so he's got to go and pay some dues, see his family, and he'll be picking up a car for himself, and we'll talk about that later on. It's pretty cool. We might miss a little bit of footage in the shop this week, but we're leaving Spoon to get to some things, and I wanted to introduce it so it wasn't just a surprise when we get back. So the big thing, before we talk about anything more, the big thing is RX7, right? Boom, the FC with the 13B in it. I really wanted to hear this thing run before I left, but Spoon yelled at me and said not to, because he didn't want to see me rig stuff up and make it happen.
Not on this one.
Not on this one. We're gonna wait till this thing's fully piped up so we could get it legit. So the last major thing of all this, besides spending even more money, is basically piping it up, right? We have the radiator, the intercooler, and the exhaust. Bunch of pipe work. bunch of spoon work, right? For this, we are doing something cool. We're gonna be doing a V-mount setup, which we'll explain in a little bit. So it's not just a bolt-in ordeal, it's actually quite a bit of fabrication. And so we're gonna leave Spoon to put his ear pods in and do his thing and bang it out. That's it. So Steve, where you at? I'm counting on you to hold it down when I'm gone.
You know I'm gonna do that, man. I'm a guy you can count on.
Okay.
How long you gonna be gone?
Till the 5th.
That makes me sad, but I'll be here.
Perfect. RJ? I said be good to the guys when I'm gone.
We'll see.
So quickly, before I lose you guys, if you guys are thinking about visiting Japan, you have to go on this website right here, at least if you're American. Okay. Boom. And you're gonna have to fill that out. It's kind of confusing, but you got through it, and you also got to do like a whole COVID test thing, which I think they're dropping in a few weeks. Just don't quote me. Within 48 hours, I think it is, of your flight. I just got mine done, and I'm negative, which is sick. I don't have COVID. Love that. All right, so what is V-mount and why are we doing it? Right, that's a big question. I feel like you hear this a lot with rotaries. FDs technically naturally come V-mount from the factory, which is pretty cool. So factory, these things have a radiator that sits just like this, kind of like in a normal car, and then the intercooler is actually on top of the engine and the hood scoop kind of goes to it, right? A little top mount intercooler, like a Subaru, you know? Yeah. When you start doing some upgrades, the top mount intercooler no longer becomes efficient enough and you have to switch to moving it somewhere else. And a lot of guys will go to a front mount intercooler, which then basically kind of restricts the flow of the radiator, and now the same air has to go through two sections and it becomes not efficient enough, right?
Not for this bitch.
Not for this thing, because rotaries, though they are awesome, their thermodynamic efficiency isn't the highest. They produce a lot of heat, so keeping these things cool is not only difficult, but obviously very important, right?
So they all run hot and they all leak.
Yes, they all run hot and they leak. It's just part of the process, and we want none of that. We used a lot of sealant on this damn thing, a lot of braces, so hopefully this one doesn't leak, but we want to run cool. So what a lot of guys do is they V-mount the system. Now, what is V-mount, Spoon, right? What is V-mount? Mount it like a damn V.
That's it.
Essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be mounting the intercooler and the radiator in a V format to allow fresh air to run through both the radiator and the intercooler at the same time instead of them sharing air. As we will be mounting the intercooler up here, right? Mounting the radiator underneath in a V with the intercooler down below. So now we have this big window for air to come through and each of the systems getting fresh, cold air.
That's it.
That's it. Simple as that,
You'll
right?
have air going down this way, and then you'll have air coming up.
Going this way. Perfect. And not only does it work extremely well, it looks so freaking cool, right?
Yes.
Rotary. We have all this room in the bay. We got to utilize it.
FCs have big engine bays.
Yeah, they do. Perfect for a 1J. So you're probably wondering, all right, what do we have to do to make this work? Because it's not as easy as the FD, where they make a lot of bolt-in kits. For the FC, you gotta make stuff. So we can kind of like weigh our options, and we think we came up with a pretty cost-effective way of doing it. And well, this is what we figured out. First, we're gonna start with the radiator, and that is a CX Racing radiator for an FD. This is what Vargas recommended, yes. Now the reason we went with this was not only was it pretty damn cost effective, but what's nice is the inlet and the outlet are on the correct side, right? So the inlet and outlet are both now on the top, where they usually are across. So you have to bring it, either cap it, bring it up there, or you have to bring it up and around all the way to the top, right?
But it's not that simple, because not every radiator is cross flow. So if it was just to cap this side and go up here, then the coolant would just do this.
Yeah, yep. It wouldn't be utilized.
Wouldn't be utilized.
So CX Racing, FD, radiator with on both sides. It's the move, I guess.
And I'm assuming there's a plate in here somewhere,
so it
that
has to
come down and then up.
And then we have our intercooler, which is going to mount very similar to something like this. Since FDs do factory basically come V-mount, and there's a lot of V-mount kits out there, we were tempted to use a V-mount FD intercooler, but it didn't seem to fit as nicely as we would like. We saw a lot of guys doing is using like the standard 27-inch front mount intercooler that everyone uses for front mounts on like 80% of street cars.
3-inch cord, what is it, 27 inches long?
27-inch overall, maybe a little bit smaller would be better. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna be mounting this up, utilizing some tight 90s, and we will be building off of this to end up right to our turbo.
Our limiting factor here is the intake for the turbo.
Yes, so right here, if you mount it back up, we have to make sure we can get a pipe on our turbo, so we have to mount our angle accordingly, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later on. But for now, our biggest goal is actually mounting the radiator, because that's probably gonna be the harder part.
That, and that's gonna determine where this lays up and down.
So I know we've been doing a lot of talking, but this kind of actually does have a lot of explanation. I'll let you guys actually learn something from this. So first thing we have to do is figure out where to mount the radiator and how to do it, because factory there is no mounts for this thing, and we have to make all of them. And not only that, as you gotta remember, a radiator gets filled up with water, which makes it extremely heavy. So we have to make sure we could support the weight of this heavy ass thing. What's up, man? You good?
Yeah, I was just gonna let you know I was gonna take lunch.
Nice show, bro. Turn around.
Hey, sweet.
Yeah, one's dope.
Good one. Good color.
Fitting. Hey.
This Friday, 12:30 p.m. If you're a Patreon, you get 2-hour early access, 10:30 to 12:30.
And a discount.
Mm-hmm.
So, step one, making a lower mount.
Yeah, this thing has no lower radiator support at all.
So Spoon's utilizing the fender brackets right here to make a lower mount. Power tools?
Nah, I prefer apples.
Look at that, dude. We have a lower radiator support. Tacked in place. These brackets are almost useless, so we might as well utilize them.
They're not useless.
Not anymore. Yes. Oh, don't breathe on it. Just, yep. Boy, what? Man, there's discrepancies in there. Try to get to it. Oh!
It's a lift. It's a lift.
Spoon, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm your radiator stand.
You think the front can go lower?
You want the radiator the lowest part, or you want the bar the lowest part?
So here's the downfall of the V-mount system. The radiator now becomes almost the lowest part of your car, especially when we put fans on it underneath. So, for street cars, it becomes a little dangerous if you're not wary of what you're doing. We gotta mount it low enough that we could put an angle in it, but not so low that it becomes a road hazard. You don't want to be leaving this thing behind on a dumpy Connecticut road somewhere.
We'll let the bar be the lowest part, and probably trim a little bit off of those front parts. Just notch probably like an inch or so off of here, just to bring it up a little bit.
But then the intercooler's coming close. Austin, I need your hands. Can you hold this?
It's not bad, even if we left it where it is.
It's not too bad. Got that?
Damn it.
Alright. So we gotta account for inlet and outlet. They're kind of close, huh? So we need to be like right. I mean, we might have to mount this thing like flat, huh? But we're not gonna want to go up much higher than that. Kind of the highest we should go.
Not bad.
It's not bad. Still is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. All hands on deck for this one. All right, I'm thinking we go there. I'd love a little bit more of an angle on this, but we have to account for the intake right here. So let me see. Can you guys give me a little bit more of an angle? No, other
Down,
way. Up, right, a little less. Right there. There we go. And then we'll have the radiator. Then we'll have just enough room for oil cooler.
What's this called? V-mount radiator?
Yes, sir. Or V-mount system.
V-mount system.
All right, this one's gonna drive me nuts, this angle, right? So we could technically put it flat, right? A lot of the FD front mounts are flat and works really good because of negative pressure, but then we definitely need a vented hood, which I probably should get anyway, so yeah, it looks cool, doesn't it? We have to account for room for the hard pipes for the coolant line, which is not a big deal, and then we have to account for the inlet of the turbo, which I think that's the most aggressive we could do while being underneath it, versus putting it flat, and it'll be underneath it. But I kind of like it like this. I think it looks cooler, to be honest. I hate these jobs where you have to make big decisions about where things go, because if you don't mock it in the right spot, you just stare at it the rest of the time you own the car. Picking stance, you know? You just keep moving shit around until it feels right. And there you go, let's drop the new video. I got Taco Bell on my face.
No.
Oh, okay. I figured it's probably best if we start from the top down. Now that we're mocking stuff up, we can see that we're more limited by this than the radiator, and I want to be able to make the radiator as high as possible, just because, I mean, I don't want that thing to be super low if not possible, but that's just kind of how they are. So right here between the hood fitment and the intake fitment and the angle, I believe this is our best spot. Obviously we can back and forth, up and down a little bit, and that will drive me nuts trying to figure out exactly where I want it. So we're just calling it, right?
That's a good spot.
It's a good spot. It's great. It's the best spot.
I'm going with it.
You could argue the angle, this, and this, but as long as we have proper ducting, we should be more than good enough. So we're gonna get this thing mounted up. We're about the ducting later on. So how do we mount this? Let's make some tabs.
Yeah, that was it.
Tips with spoon. Polish your rod.
Look at me in the eyes when I do this.
Spoon needs some love, man. And yep, got you. 3/8 steel rod. I love this stuff. I think it looks really, really cool making mounts out of. Back in the day, Spoon used to make all the front ends for Civics out of these things. Don't hit up Spoon, he ain't making you one. Oh. But it looks really, really cool. We were thinking about like welding a plate to it and then plating it to here, but I don't know what it is. I really like that rod look.
Bracketry.
The bracketry. I've always been a fan of it. The one on Nissan's intercooler looks all cool and pretty.
You make your front end out of that though?
Mounts? Spoon Civic fronts for like the drag cars.
I thought you meant like
Tube. Like a Civic drag car, you just hold the headlights up, bro.
why they be making them tilted like this? I see them in FDs too like that. What's that shit do? What's the real reason, James? Where are you going?
Japan.
You leaving again? Leaving me again? Because it's sideways and it runs cooler. It's unexplainable. No one knows why.
I guess now with the if you stack them, right, front mount radiator, you got them sharing the same airflow. Boom, just one stream. If you V-mount them, they both get basically their own cool air.
Sounds like a myth.
Conspiracies with Donald. V-mounts. Where's my money, Luke? Where's my ball? Oh, now he's struggling. Now it looks like I'm actually hurting him. I love you. I love you.
Luke's gonna miss you.
What do you bring to? I was told to bring an impact gun that I could leave there, Harbor Freight. Adam said if there's any little tools that you like to use often, bring them. Adjustable wrench.
That's the only thing you're bringing.
and a voltmeter, bro. I definitely gotta bring more than that. It's just step one, alright? I'm stressed. Let's get in there.
Luke, come on in this.
20 hours. I feel like I'm the passenger princess fab edition. Big fat juicy bead. Let me weld this one on the bottom. Let me do the bottom. I got this. Let me show Spoon how it's done. Yeah. Done this once. How the f do you do this?
Talk that shit.
Hey. Okay. Yeah, I started to figure it out. It could be worse. I'm the guy you go to, you know, like, oh, I got a guy that can do it cheaper. I can see why you use the smaller filler on there. What's up?
What'd you do to my tungsten, dog?
Bro, it's alright, man. It'd be like that sometimes.
Bro, it's alright.
That looks cool. See, it's just a little bit of 3/8 rods, some tabs, and some thick, juicy welds from your boy, Jimmy Oaks. Everyone has their own style, but for some reason, I really love like the 3/8 rod bracketry. I think it looks cool. We have this big gap here. I know we're gonna get called out for it. We're gonna do a bunch of ducting because we want to make sure that's covered and stuff so we can get max efficiency through the radiator. All right, part of the process. Of course, top is supported. Strong. Love that. Love that for us. Now, of course, bottom has to be supported. I have to run the AAA to get an international driver's license. Spoon, you got this.
Got this.
Yep.
See ya. Bye.
Good luck, boys.
Adieu.
I learned this in high school. First week in high school, auto body class, we made license plates.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
How to get a nice round edge. You take a quarter. Just grind it. Power mount, kept it very simple. Made 2 tabs and just A to B. That, and then we'll do the same thing for the other side.
I see how you did it this way. Not that we're gonna go up with it, but that looks fancier. I'm all about the 3/8 rod to a tab technique here. And you're just bolting it up now, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Good timing.
I want to shake it.
Yeah.
Not yet. See when let me know when I can shake it. Okay. Are these stop in?
They're tight.
Nah.
They're tight. Shake it, bro.
That's sick. Shake the whole damn car by it. That's so sick. See how look. That ain't going nowhere. There we go. Step 1 done. There's a couple more steps. This goes to here. Nice and short. This goes to here. Nice and short. Love that for us. Before we do that, it's time for the radiator. All right? Radiator. Back to this.
Oh, my back. Can't show up for this shit. We're going under, right?
Yeah. That's sick right there. Look at that. Mint. I think straight line, if we dock to that, goes right to the bottom of the intercooler. Look how low the drain is. We'll have to change that to like an Allen key.
Well, yeah, we'll have to change that.
I mean, it's, if you think about it though, it's still higher than the subframe, so it's not the lowest part of the car. You just want to give up the subframe. A lot of guys will make mash bars that kind of are more aggressive to that. My heart. It needs to be done. It needed to be done. Ducting is gonna be so important on this car. Like, we'll do it proactively on some cars because it's nice, but it's not like necessary. But like this car, ducting will be. Tab from some 1-inch flat stock. It's crazy what you can do with 1-inch flat stock and some 3/8 stainless bar. Spoon, we gotta cover this. This is a dirty little secret we have right here.
What do you got against Mishimoto?
No, it isn't. I don't know. We're gonna cover it. Let's get a plate. We'll just put a. You know what? I'll get a spoon and we'll just weld the spoon to the intercooler.
So it's like a fine dining spoon.
Yeah, just a real nice spoon. Who's got a nice aluminum spoon we can just tack to this thing? Tacks with a spoon. That's right. Bracket off the bracket. You're a wild man. This is a cooler perspective of the radiator actually being underneath because you can actually see it, not just being. It looks flat from the top, doesn't it? But it's dope because this is well above the suspension, which is really nice. If you look, it's above the little fender braces, so we'd have to taco the fenders before we even come close to the radiator, which is awesome. Even the drain. We'll probably put a better one than that. This looks like trouble. But we still got to put, of course, a fan shroud on here and fans, which still gives us plenty of room, which is awesome. Our inlet and outlets are right here. And it's funny because look, the sway bar is like almost notched for it. One's got to go here and the other one's got to go up and around, but that's whatever. It's easy. Easy peasy. I would have loved, obviously, a bigger angle on this if possible. If we went any higher with that, we would have just gotten in the way of the intercooler, and the intercooler would have to put more flat. So it's all about like balancing the two, right? And obviously, there's a million things we could do to make it better. I feel like it's one of those things that you kind of have to do first before you realize what you could have done better, if that makes sense. But for our first placement of V-mount stuff, I think we did pretty good. I'm pretty proud of us. It's nice. Right through there, we got to find a place to shove an oil cooler somewhere. Probably have to do side mount ones or something.
Yeah, like right there.
We'll figure that out. I mean, we even got plenty of room for a shroud, which is awesome. And it's really funny to see fans mounted like this. Mishimoto intercooler, CX Racing radiator, both pretty budget friendly but well working pieces. Some flat stock, some 3/8, and you could probably do this with a MIG welder and a cheap angle grinder from the store.
That's how I started. I started with a flux MIG welder.
Everyone starts with the flux. It's gross.
The wall angle grinder, and I made everything with it.
Hell yeah. The Sonda was made with a DeWalt angle grinder and the first MIG welder I ever bought. So that thing hasn't split in half yet.
I don't need fancy tools to get by.
Just take your damn time.
Yeah, just a lot of work.
There's a lot of work. A lot of patience.
That is.
Girls out there, find your mans who's built the car. He has patience. It's like, I ain't got no patience. the boyfriends that sitting there haven't touched their car in like years. It's just like I'm hyped to see the stuff mounted up. Now it's Spoon's turn to connect the pipes, and I'll come back. I'll wire it up. We'll probably run bigger feed lines to the rails because I realize they're probably too small for power goals, and then I got to pack for Japan. I'm extremely anxious in the best way possible. I'm probably gonna puke and then cry. You're gonna see me cry next video. It's just I'm gonna get off the. I'm gonna get emotional. Spoon, the shop's in your hands.
Isn't it always?
So I'll see you guys in probably West Virginia next.
Yeah.
If that all works out.
What? Why wouldn't it?
The boys. I'm waiting on the boys.
I mean, we're still going regardless, right?
Yeah, fair enough. So we'll talk about that later on, but for now, I'll see you guys in Japan. You know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. And Spoon,
Have a good night.